Peace. You are tuned into Edible Activists with your host and favorite edible activist, Melissa L. Jones. On this show, we honor Black people and their stories in food and agriculture, celebrating legacy, traditions, contributions, and creativity that all stem from the land. So tune in and let's get started. Peace. I am your host and favorite edible activist, Melissa L. Jones. In this episode, I am joined by Demi Unique, a traveling artist, chef, and creative who explores food as a way to spark connection, create memories, and tell stories. With a background in both fashion, design, and culinary arts, Chef Demi weaves together art, culture, and style to shape her unique culinary journey, all while honoring the ancestors who inspire her work. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yay!
Yeah.
That I feed off that energy. I do. This is awesome. Well, I mention this all like sometimes in my shows, like some of the best parts of the time that I get in person with guests is just a little bit of the conversation that happens before the show starts.
Yeah.
And what you guys didn't hear, and you might hear throughout the show, is that I actually attended one of Chef Demi's pop-up experiences well over a year ago, and I was blown away. And for y'all who know me, I don't eat everywhere. I don't eat everybody's food. I'm really big on food, and like this girl has a craft, a skill set, and it's more than just food. And so I hope that you get to experience virtually some of the flavors from her story and her experiences, and then maybe one day soon in the near future a pop-up. So I just had to share that because I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. So we're going to get started. I always like to start from the beginning, Chef Demi, and I know like journeys are not linear, but there is a start and there's something that sparks, or fuels, your passion or just where you are to this day. But definitely you want to dive into like what led you on this journey of food. Obviously, you have a background in culinary and in fashion design. And so, at what point or what was the memory that made you realize that this is more than just a passion?
Yeah. So like you said, it's definitely not a linear journey at all. I started in the fashion industry. So straight out of high school, I moved to LA and I thought I was going to be like this big fashion designer. That's what I wanted to be. And when I finally graduated school, I got this design job and it was great for a while. And then it wasn't. And I was always cooking for friends, always hosting. That never stopped, ever. So when I finally decided to leave that job and I was still in the kitchen, my friend told me, she was like, you should start a food blog. You should call it Dem Eats. And I was like, yeah, maybe I will. So that's kind of where it started. And then that kind of turned into a meal prep thing because people wanted me to cook for them. And I started my journey into veganism. So that was like the pull. But food has always kind of been there. It's been a comfort for me almost. And some of my earliest memories, like down to when I was like 4 years old, big Christian family. So when I was growing up, we had this small church. Actually, it used to be not far from here.
Oh, wow.
It was on 10th Street in Columbia Heights. So it's no longer there. It's like a condo now. But my great aunts used to cook Sunday dinner, like after service. So like you're downstairs trying to get through the service, but you smell what's, happening upstairs.
Listen.
Right? And it gave like Thanksgiving every Sunday. You know what I mean? Like soul food, Big Mama my arm, low key, like cooking down upstairs. Crystal's hot sauce on the table, like full spread. And my great aunts used to listen to the service while we had like speakers in the kitchen. And I used to like sneak upstairs to like help them in the kitchen, or just to like, back then I ate pork, so I used to get like, they used to give me like a piece of fat back to just like nibble on while they were cooking or things like that. So those are some of my earliest memories. So it kind of was like spirit with food, with family. It was a small church, so we all felt like family. And it's Sunday dinner. That's a very like familial thing, especially in like Black culture. It's like, let's sit down together. We do everything, during the week, but let's come together, and have a meal on Sunday. So yeah.
That's incredible, and those ancestors, they didn't tiptoed around over here. Okay,
Exactly.
they're like,
Exactly.
say that, girl, say our name. I love that. I love that connection. What is one meal in particular you remember as like a young child, is like getting your hands into to like say, I want to make this, and I'm sure it was everything, but if there's
Yeah.
a one specific thing you
Yeah.
recall.
So the first dish that I think I ever helped make, the first vegetable I learned to chop was a cabbage. So like
Black family staple.
exactly, exactly. So cabbage was probably like the first thing that I was interested in and curious about. Always just watching, just trying to like take everything in. But the first meal I learned to make like on my own was like, although it's, I guess, traditionally not Black, but we claim it, spaghetti.
Listen, Getty.
You know?
That is a Black family staple.
Exactly.
And the way that we have remixed spaghetti.
So stained Tupperware and all, like, yeah.
Absolutely. But it was also one of those things like coming up, especially like when you were at the point, even in like middle school, it's like, okay, y'all staying at home by yourselves. Y'all need easy meals that y'all can pop into the microwave, spaghetti, pasta.
Yeah.
The light is
Yeah.
it. So
Exactly.
no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I am with you on that. Okay. And and cabbage, you have to be very careful with cutting cabbage. You gotta watch out for your fingers. There's an art to cutting cabbage.
There is. There is. And some people, cut it real thin.
Yes.
Some people cut it in squares. It's a little
It's
different
a little
depending on the household.
Exactly. I love it nonetheless, though. I
Yeah.
do. So your work beautifully, and I mean beautifully, merges food, art, and design. And let me just say this: you still obviously have the fashion down on lock, because this sister's outfit, love it. When y'all see these clips and this arm candy and these camo pants, I okay, yeah, you got it. Okay,
Thanks.
how has your creative background shaped the way that you tell stories through your culinary experiences?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, like 2D art was my thing. Like I was always in the art studio. My art teacher was like my mentor. He was also one of the Black teachers there, so I kind of was under his wing my entire like I think I started there in 7th grade through 12th. So I was always with him, always in the art studio, and he went to Micah. He's from Baltimore. His name is Desmond Beach. He's still an active artist, so check
I
him out.
love it. Shout out Baltimore, and shout out. I ride past Micah every time I'm out in Baltimore. Love that building.
Yeah, and he's really great. And a lot of his work um, pulled a lot on his ancestry, and really told stories that weren't really being like shared on a wider, I guess, spectrum in that school in particular. So yes, we had like diversity clubs and all of these things, but I really learned how to like tell stories in his class, and like just watching him work and soaking up everything that I could from him. It didn't always have to be like in a book or somebody telling you a story, but you could see it visually in some kind of aspect. So I kind of carried that with me after leaving the fashion industry into like how I tell stories with food. For a long time, I kind of felt a disconnect when I was just doing meal prep, because I felt like there was something missing. Like I'm not able to really like tell a story. Like I'm feeding you and I'm making you feel great, and that's also a gift to me, but it's only part of me. So for a long time I was trying to like make this culinary studio, if you will, where I took food as like the star of my composition, and help tell a bigger story that usually has some kind of like nostalgia around it or references to other things. So I did like this 2000s mall shoot. Like those Hollywood photos, airdrop box,
Absolutely.
airbrush background, all of that.
Oh, I was pressed to get into them little photo booths in the
Yeah.
mall.
Yeah. Same. Same. And I actually was never able to when I was younger, but my brother did, all my cousins did. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. But in these photos, your style 2000s down, but you're also holding like food court food in it. So that was like the start of like, let me
Don't you
try to
date me
tell a
on this
story.
show. Don't you date me on this show, Demi. Don't you date me. We lived for the food court, okay?
Exactly, exactly. So I think I did like the Auntie Anne's kind of like remix. I made my own pretzels. I made pizza. I did like a Chinese food takeout and then burger and fries. Like I had a lot of fun with that. But I also wasn't feeding people outside of the subjects in the shoot. So there was like this tug of war between like, I want to feed people, but I want to tell stories, and like, how do I bring the two together? So as much as I can now, I'm trying to like mesh those things. Sometimes they'll be separate, but most of the time when I curate menus, especially for like private dinners, I'm trying to tell you a story or at least like connect some kind of dots with the food that I'm cooking.
That is remarkable. Listen, was there ever a Cinnabon situation in the fold? I heard Auntie
There
Ants. Oh
was.
my
There
gosh.
was.
Oh
I
my
did like
gosh.
a pecan cinnamon roll
Stop.
thing.
Stop.
Yes.
Stop. We're done.
Yeah. I tried to hit all the little staples.
I love that so much. So fresh seasonal ingredients are key to a lot of meaningful food experiences. And I understand that that's like in perspective, but for the sake of this show, it's meaningful to me,
Yeah.
right?
Same.
And so how do you think about sourcing agriculture and the connection to land when creating your menus?
Yeah. So in general, I just try to cook as seasonally as possible. So for the last private dinner that I did, her theme, I guess, was about rebirth and renewal and growth. So immediately I'm like, that sounds like fresh produce to me,
We're going to the
right?
farm.
So like immediately I started thinking about, okay, what's in season? It's summertime. Like, let's do some like seafood elements. Let's see what fresh fish I can get. So I went to like the fish market and got fresh scallops. And, I did a corn dish. Like I did a corn scallop crudo where I made like a summer corn milk. And, it was really nice. But I tried to like think about that as much as possible. When I did live in New York, it was very easy when I did, any kind of event to source at the farmer's market. Now I don't have as many plugs as I did there. So I try to get what I can from local
Yeah.
farms.
Oh, we got plugs for you, sis. We
Yeah, I
got
know
tons of
y'all
plugs.
do. I know y'all do. My friend Harlem, she told me about this like farmer who grows okra specifically, and she did a pop up at Shanklin Hall not too long ago, maybe like
Yes.
a year or two
Right
ago at this
behind us.
point. Yeah, exactly, in the neighborhood. And she did this okra dish. I was like, yeah, this is not grocery store okra. Like, you got some extras?
Right.
Yeah, so like,
I love that. This ain't that's a t-shirt. This ain't grocery store okra, y'all.
exactly. This is not from the grocery store at all. And you can really taste the difference. Like,
Of
you can
course.
taste when somebody's been like really tending to your food, like through its entire growth process. And that's not to say that that's not what happens with the food before it gets to the
Right.
grocery store.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But like direct from a farmer is
Yeah.
like completely different.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And you know what? Just as important as it is, and obviously this is a show around, growing and entrepreneurship and land and farming and stuff, but just as it is so important for like homegrown, local, food, it is super important in the culinary space to feed your food with good love and energy.
Yes.
Because as someone who buys mostly from my local farmers, and I wholeheartedly believe in like the local farm system and getting my food from there, and I cook it, but I'm also mindful about like what mood I'm in when I cook. But then
Hmm.
also, like, if someone has a whole like spread of like locally sourced food but your attitude is stank,
It doesn't make a
I'm
difference.
going to the carry out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Might as well.
Might as well,
Yeah. I
so
say that all the time. Like, and I also recognize that not everybody has like access
absolutely.
to certain farms or like just don't know the
Exactly.
information, right? So like I'm also very aware of that. But when I get in the kitchen, I have to make sure my friends used to laugh at me when I did work in like a kitchen in New York. I used to like Palo Santo around the kitchen.
I
First, I
know
would
that's
like do
right.
myself. Like, I'm like, nah, we gotta clear
Let
this
me clear
out.
this out.
Like, because it's such like a high energy
Yes.
field, right? And I don't really think people, now that the bear's out, some people can like slightly understand.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I don't think it like glamorizes it, which is great. I
No,
love
they
that
don't
show.
at all.
But yeah, I think people don't realize how like chaotic some kitchens can be. And even when you're at home, right? Like if you're in a bad mood, like I'll taste that
Yeah,
in my food.
absolutely.
Like if I am cooking while I'm in a terrible mood, if I'm mad, if I'm like exhausted, like, and really am not present with the food. Really, that's what it's about. Like really connecting with the food and being present. You can feel whatever is off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember I attended an event. This was some years ago. It was a beautiful event. It was at someone's like flower farm out in Bowie,
Ooh.
and this young woman who I know, I haven't seen her in years, and I'm charge my head, not my heart. I think she's from Guatemala.
Hmm.
Can cook her. I mean, everything from scratch down to the T,
Mm.
so good. And I bring her up because I remember her telling me about, she was saying as women, try not to cook on your cycle if you don't have to, and it's, everything in perspective. Like, y'all only got to agree. I'm just sharing some insight that was given to me.
Hmm.
And I think what she was saying is like, you don't, like, obviously you got to eat. So like, you're going to have to make food. You're just like, oh, not right. But I think her point is that like, just be mindful of your mood when you do cook. So whether in your cycle or you're not,
Hmm.
she was like, just being mindful of like, if you are like in a very bad mood and you're cooking, especially for other people, just take some time to like decompress and just
Yeah.
like clear that energy, or just like listen, just chill out,
Yeah.
and I think that's the point that she was trying to make, so
Yeah.
like you have to cook regardless. But and that actually always stuck with me, not like just in a way of like, even when I make my own food, of like, sometimes I'll just pray, like, just help me just to pour really good energy into my own plate.
Hmm.
I don't want to bring my work woes or anything family woes into this meal. That's
Hmm.
because I need to enjoy it too.
Yeah, like if you can't really nourish yourself with whatever you cooked in those kind of moods, right?
Yeah,
Like the food doesn't even taste the same.
it does
Like
not.
it
It does
doesn't taste the same. You can make the next
exactly.
day in a great mood and it'll taste amazing, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Yep, I hear you. So what we've spoke up the ancestors already, right? And we're gonna keep speaking them back up. But you draw inspiration from your ancestors in your work. Can you share? I know we had talked about like, some of the things that you had your hands in at the church around not too far from here, right? Or where like some of your lineage would cook at. But can you share a dish or ingredient specifically, or ritual that carries ancestral meaning for you to this day?
Um, yeah, so honestly, it's not really one specific dish. My belief system and like the practices that I have now are a bit different from when I was growing up. I'm a little bit more into like African traditional practices. So I do have an altar that I provide my ancestors meals for. And so it's not anything specific. Like I literally pray and talk to them often. And some people might think it's weird or whatever, but I don't really
You pull
care.
them into everything that you do. I do the
Exactly.
same thing.
And it's not like I'm praising them, I'm honoring them. And I think
Absolutely.
that's a difference.
I'm so
So
glad that you named that.
yeah.
Especially as, and I grew up in a very super Christian household, and it's just like, you're idolizing, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm so glad that it's honoring.
Yeah.
It's not idolizing someone. It's not worshiping someone. It's out of respect. There are
Yeah.
people who came before you and
Exactly.
I.
Exactly. And I literally would not be here if it weren't for all of these generations of people that came before me. Like their blood is literally in my veins.
Absolutely.
So like
Ashe.
why wouldn't I honor them? So every time that I eat, especially when I have excess, but most of the time I'm like with intention cooking for them.
Mm.
So sometimes they'll be like, I want, I don't know, beef and broccoli. And I'm like, I don't eat that. Like, I don't eat that.
I,
So, that's for you.
that's
That's for y'all. Like, so I don't think it's in that way. It's not like a specific dish.
yeah, I hear you.
But there are times where I've made dishes that I've served to people. You probably had one at that pop up, the gumbo. That I made, the vegan gumbo. I did I think vegan crab cakes and vegan
I
gumbo,
remember a
maybe.
curry situation. I feel like it
Oh,
was
you went to the next one. You
okay.
went to
So there were
yeah,
two.
there were two.
Okay, okay.
So, at one of them, I think the first one that I did, I made a vegan gumbo, and
Mm.
that dish was actually inspired by my best friend's late grandmother,
Oh.
Joni, and she was just amazing and so sweet and so loving, New Orleans woman. And
Ooh.
I went to New Orleans one year for Christmas to, spend time with her family. And she put that bowl of gumbo in front of me. And I was like, I don't think I've ever had gumbo before. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like, this is gumbo. I don't know what I've been eating like
Exactly.
every other time. So I was like, at that time, I made an exception for her gumbo because it was
Yes.
seafood gumbo, had, the andouille, all that.
Everything.
And I didn't eat seafood or meat then, but I was like, there's no way
Wow.
I'm not eating this,
Right.
So I tried to honor her by making my own version that was plant-based.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, like that is one. And at the time when I made it, she was still, here. But now it just feels so special. I even gave the recipe to my best friend because
Oh,
she
did
is also
you?
plant-based. So like, yeah, it's a very special dish, and I haven't made it in a long time. But as I was making it, I was like calling on my ancestors for help because I'm like, y'all cook down. That's where I got it from. So
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
help me,
Guide me.
guide
Don't
me.
be too far. I need you to sit right next to me
I'm
for
seasoning
sure.
until y'all say stop.
Until you say stop. Because y'all ain't had no recipe cards, okay?
Exactly.
You just felt it in your soul.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And maybe that, if you're in a space where you want to honor, and feel like it's right to have that dish on a pop-up, I would love to taste
Yeah. Yeah.
that. So as a traveling artist and chef, how do the places that you visit and the people you meet shape your culinary narratives?
Ooh. Yeah. So,
Or just your experiences, in general.
I think when I travel, especially when I travel out of the country, I try to try whatever the local dish is, especially if I can really eat it. There's sometimes where I'll break my dietary restrictions so I can just try something. So I really try to embrace whatever the culture is and take some of those notes, if it's flavors or ingredients or techniques. I'm often the person do you mind if I can go in your kitchen or record you in the kitchen? And sometimes I get a yes, or they're like, nah, but you can stay out there and record. You know what I mean? Like, so I just try to soak up as much like information as I can because, I'm not always going to be in this place potentially. I'm going to go back home and I just want to learn as much as I can. And then as far as like meeting new people, if people cook for me, I feel so honored. Like as a chef, every chef I know, you getting this question like, when you gonna cook for me? Like, I do that for a living. I actually want to sit down for a
Hello?
second. Like,
Trust yourself.
that's not like the most cute idea for a date for me. Like, I work.
Right.
That's what I do for work. you know?
I am cracking up. I feel you. I feel you. As
So-
someone who ain't a chef.
Yeah.
Fix
So
me a meal.
fix me a meal. Like that's actually so special to me.
Absolutely.
Like that
you
is so
love
special.
me. Like
Yeah.
you love me.
Yeah. And you're thinking about me.
You're thinking about me.
So I think that's really where I take in the most. Sitting down at someone else's table. And trying to just like be present. And that's also something that I try to carry into my work because most of my work is private events now. I want people to just be present.
Yeah.
Like, even if hopefully you remember the food, right? But that's not always what I want you to take away. Most of the time, I want you to be able to just be present with whoever else is at the table. And it's an honor for me to just be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't even know if I answered that question really, but
No, you did. No, you did. You did. And what are there some like countries that jump out specifically that you were like, all right, that's it. Like just, just like
Yeah.
the greatest food experience.
Ooh, honestly, I had some of the best food that I ever had when I went to Jamaica for like the first or second time.
Girl, don't rile me up about Jamaica. Oh my
Like,
gosh.
Ooh.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
think the last time that I went, I was fully like eating meat, dairy, all of that. So like I was eating down.
But you were okay over there though.
I was fine. And then, I totally
You were okay
forgot.
over there.
And when I went to Costa Rica, I think this was in high school, and I did like I stayed in someone else's house and we like worked the land, and I think I was like helping paint a recreation center there.
Ooh.
And yeah, they like set up internet for the first time, I think, on the island. It was like an island off of Costa Rica.
Okay.
But I had a house mom, right? So we didn't speak the same language. I spoke some Spanish so we could kind of communicate, but it wasn't even farm to table. It was given like we have chickens in the backyard.
Yeah, that was the real farm to table.
Exactly. Like that chicken that was just like, or rooster or whatever that was crowing in the morning or whatever they do.
Yep.
Like it's not doing that today because it's
Right.
actually on the table.
It's on the table.
It's on the table. And then there were like cows walking down the street. I'm like, oh yeah, they're getting and then her husband was a fisherman. So like, I was like, that is the freshest food. And we ate, she gave us breakfast before we left for our work for the day. We came back for lunch and we got dinner. And I guess because we were the guests, we would eat first. So like, there was some kind of like miscommunication. Me and my friend were like, is this all for us? Like, I'm so confused. Because the food was so good.
Oh, I
so it's
believe
like,
it.
we could eat it all, but like, I'm also stuffed. Like, I feel like this should be shared. You know what I mean? So like, those are some of the experiences that I remember and hold because I'm like, your guests eat before you do. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like coming home to your grandma and she's like, you hungry?
Absolutely.
Like, that's the same type of vibe.
Yes.
Like, really trying to like nourish someone else just because. Like, just
I love
because.
that.
And that's beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
course.
So I had mentioned like at the top of the show that hopefully in the near future you all might be able to experience one of Chef Demi's pop-up experiences. But I'm hoping that her story has like given you a taste because I've been salivating over here since the start of the show and I'm sure you are too. So thank you so much for pulling us through that journey.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to wrap up soon, but you have been doing some experiences out in Baltimore. There were more, I know you do more private experiences. And, but I want you to speak more to that because I want to learn more about around that. Was it a residency that you were doing, or it was kind of, and it was like a invite only type situation,
Yeah,
or can we
yeah.
speak to it? Or is it
Yeah.
like
No,
super secret? Okay.
it's not like locked up. So this artist named Derek Adams, he's based in New York and Baltimore. He has this space called the Last Resort Artist Retreat. And it's kind of expanded. There's a bunch of different like things under the umbrella of it's called it's like four C's, and I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm just gonna leave it
Well,
as
charge
four
your head,
C. You
not your
can,
heart.
yeah, exactly. Um, and my friend reached out to me. We tried to work on a project like a year or two ago, and it didn't really fall through. So she still wanted to work with me. So she reached out and was like, "Would you mind? Did you want to cook for like 12 guests like next week, or like in a few days or
Oh my
something?" The first
goodness.
time, so I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it happened to be a group of artists, and just hearing their conversation while I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. I didn't really know what I was walking into. But the space itself, they have artist residencies there. They host different events like all the time. You should definitely look into them. Um, I know it's like cultural. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm
It's
not gonna do
okay.
that. But their events are amazing, and when I'm sorry, artists come into town, they host them, and the space is also a house, so like he can actually like fully host these people and have them
Wow.
stay there, and have a chef come in and cook for them. Sometimes it would be breakfast, or I was responsible for dinners a few different times, so yeah, I was honored to
Chef
cook
Demi
for
said
like.
dinner so lightly. Oh, I saw that spread and I was like, well, damn, how do I get an invite? I mean, that spread was immaculate.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Like,
Yeah.
this ain't no regular schmegler. No offense, to some of y'all. But this ain't no regular smuggler, just like, here's your platter of like, cheese and crap. Like, it was I think I saw fish, like
Yeah.
whole or filleted fish. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it wasn't actually a residency, but people like just assumed that I was like a resident chef
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
how many times like back to back I was cooking
yeah.
there. But yeah, I've done some really special dinners there. They have a collective of women writers named Zora's Den. And immediately I was like, Zora's Den, Zora Neale Hurston, like,
Yes.
I'm gonna do a meal based off of like their eyes were watching God.
That is
So, I was able to kind of like walk them through my interpretation of the book from a food perspective,
that's
and just
awesome.
kind of like pulling out what she was cooking when she was with each of the men that she dealt with and married, or, and like kind of how the food told the story too. So yeah, that was a really special one. But every dinner that I've done there has been really special. They really give me like the freedom to tell stories with my food.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What's next? What's on the horizon?
Um, I am actually moving back to LA soon.
Oh my good. Well, I'm glad I got you while you were here in DC.
Yeah,
Good for
yeah.
you.
Most people don't really know.
Oh,
But I guess
well,
now I'll
they'll
be
know,
telling
they'll know in a
everybody.
bit.
Yeah.
Mom knows though, right?
Mom knows.
Okay.
Mom knows. But yeah, I still have like friends that I consider family out there.
That's sweet.
My boyfriend lives out there.
That's
So
sweet. Oh, that's why we going back. Part of the reason
part of
LA.
the reason.
I know
Part of the
that's
reason.
right.
But it was always in the cards. I actually
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to move back home after New York. Yeah, I
Oh,
was meant to go straight back to LA, but I was like, let me get my money up.
get your brain. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Congratulations. I'm
Thank
happy for
you. Thank
you.
you. So I'm really gonna try to set a new foundation for what I want to like grow as a legacy for myself and hopefully a future family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Well, Don't forget about us here in DC and Maryland. So
Never.
if if there are some experiences coming, let us know. And listen, don't leave me off the list for LA. I will come to LA. And I would love
Yeah.
to connect you with some people who I've met in LA doing some
Yeah,
great
no, I would
things.
love that. I would love
So
that.
that is amazing. I can't wait to see what evolves there for you. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that I got you here and just wish you so much success. Like you've already had success, but like continued success.
Thank
So yeah,
you.
that's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Where can people find you on social?
It's Demi, Demi, unique. Unique is my middle name. Unique. So Demi Unique on pretty much everything. But I'm mostly on Instagram. Also, you can go to my website, demiunique.com.
Awesome. Her website is gorgeous. I love it. And her videos on Instagram, y'all, love, love. Chef Demi, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you. You have such an incredible craft, and I'm just in awe. And I hope to experience a wonderful, wonderful food experience near future
Thank you
with you.
so much. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Edible Activists. You can find today's episode on Spotify, iTunes, and Simplecast, and follow along on all social media platforms at Edible Activists for updates. Want to support this platform? You can do so by purchasing our commerce or connecting with me about media partnerships at www.edibleactivist.com. In the words of Baba Tariq Adunu, there is no culture without agriculture. Peace.